corporate social responsibility CSR provisions of the Companies Act came into effect on April 1st this year. There has been a lot of discussion about whether it is really a CSR provision or it is simply corporate philanthropy. In this article, we argue that the new law is compatible with corporate social responsibility and does not actually require just corporate philanthropy. The difference is that corporate social responsibility can be in the shared interest of the outside stakeholders as well as of the company itself. Now, there is one provision of the CSR law which says that any activity that the company performs in the ordinary course of its business does not count as CSR. And there is confusion about whether this means that companies cannot be strategic about CSR, whether if they do an activity that is strategic, it will not count as CSR. And we argue that that interpretation is against both the letter and the spirit of the law. We argue that the company can consider activities that are that benefit their stakeholders as well as are in the strategic interests of the company itself. How does this happen? For example, a company by itself may not have incentives to improve the education of the society as a whole. Although a company benefits from having an educated workforce, it is not in the individual company's interest to pay for the education of the society because they don't reap its entire benefits. There is an externality. And by requiring companies to spend 2%, which they can spend on such things which ultimately can benefit the company itself, we argue that this law enables extraordinary business. In order to meet the shared interests of the stakeholders as well as the strategic interests of the company itself, we outline a 3-step framework in our article that we call the responsible business framework. The first step is to look at the different stakeholders and which stakeholder benefit is in the long-term interests of the company. The second step is to look at which activities this company wants to engage in CSR and to check whether those activities fall within the activities that are mentioned in the CSR law. And the third step is to check whether it is a business as usual activity, in which case it is not CSR, or whether it is not and therefore would meet the provisions of the CSR law. By mandating CSR, India has been thrust into the global limelight of the CSR community. We hope that Indian companies take this as an opportunity to improve their business, really create extraordinary businesses, create capacity for CSR, because the corporate sector is the one that can execute and create good things for India.